Welcome to Reds Fusion LFC. Big Liverpool transfer twists are exploding right now. Bournemouth break their silence on Antoine Semenyo as Anfield links heat up. A gentleman's agreement for Marc Guehi puts Liverpool one step from a major defensive signing. And Alexander Isak finally speaks out after his worrying injury scare. Plus, Semenyo rejects Man United as his preferred January move emerges. Stay locked in. This is Reds Fusion LFC, your home for the latest Liverpool news, transfer drama, and breaking updates.
Bournemouth issue Antoine Semenyo statement as Liverpool transfer rumors grow. Bournemouth winger Antoine Semenyo is expected to attract major interest in the January transfer window. Bournemouth boss Andoni Iraola has declared he does not want to lose in-demand Antoine Semeno during the January transfer window as Liverpool continue to be linked with the winger. Semeno is expected to attract significant interest in the new year, with a number of clubs reportedly courting the signature of the 26-year-old. Manchester City, Manchester United, and Tottenham Hotspur are all said to be tracking the London-born Ghana international, with Chelsea having this week also emerged as contenders. Liverpool have been long-time admirers of the 25-year-old and have close links with Bournemouth, where sporting director Richard Hughes worked on the recruitment staff and as technical director, having had 2 spells at the Cherries as a player. It's understood Semenyo has a release clause in his contract of £65 million, which will become active on January 1st. But speaking ahead of Bournemouth's game against Brentford this weekend, boss Iraola is not considering an imminent departure for the player, who is reportedly favoring a move to Man City. Antoine Semenyo right now is with us, said Iraola on Tuesday afternoon. He has trained today with us very well. I understand that there is a lot of noise around Antoine, but my concern is that it doesn't affect him, his performances, and we are seeing that it is not affecting his performances. He is very committed to the team, and I hope we can keep him there. There are situations that we cannot control, but right now, Antoine is our player, and he's going to continue playing for us. If you ask me, I don't want to lose him. Definitely don't want to lose him. But like we always say, every time the market opens, you never know what's going to happen. Semenyo, who can play on either flank, has 8 goals in 16 Premier League games and scored twice in Bournemouth's 4-2 defeat at Liverpool on the opening weekend. And Iraola added, Antoine, for me, has been performing very well, not just the last 2 games because he has scored. The level of consistency has been very good since the beginning of the season. He has had moments where he hasn't scored and has still been very valuable for us. At the end, we demand not only the numbers, but he gives us a lot of things. It's no secret he is a massive player for us. Liverpool are grappling with selection issues in attack at present, with Alexander Isak ruled out for a number of months with a fractured leg, Mohamed Salah not expected to be back for a month due to African Cup of Nations duty, and Cody Gakpo having recently been absent with a muscle problem.
Liverpool have a gentleman's agreement to sign Marc Guehi with one hurdle left to clear. Crystal Palace defender Marc Guehi is allowed to speak to other clubs from January as he enters the final 6 months of his contract at Selhurst Park, with sides queuing for his signature. Liverpool have a gentleman's agreement with Crystal Palace defender Marc Guehi after seeing his move collapse when the Eagles pulled out of a deal last summer, according to Sky Sports. But the Reds could yet face a nervous wait in January, with the England international drawing plenty of interest from around Europe. Guehi will be allowed to speak to clubs from abroad in a matter of days and can sign a pre-contract agreement from the start of 2026 as he enters the final 6 months of his deal with the Eagles. Liverpool's route would only be to agree a deal with Palace to claim the defender's signature early rather than face a nervous wait for him to join for free in the summer. The Reds plan to reinforce their backline with a central defender their top priority for 2026 as Ibrahima Konate is set to leave the club at the end of his contract in the summer. Injury to Alexander Isak at the weekend could have changed their immediate priority, however. That could be a risk with Bayern Munich and Real Madrid interested in doing a deal, and Barcelona could yet be prompted into action. The Catalan club want a new defender after Andreas Christensen's injury. Despite the imminent period of wheeling and dealing in the football world, Arne Slot is not thinking about the transfer window. "My only thoughts are on the upcoming 2 games," the Liverpool boss said ahead of Saturday's clash with Wolves. 2 difficult ones again, 2 home games. "I think it's a time for the players we do have available to do what they've done so many times, to roll their sleeves up, and not only our players but our fans as well, to help us in the best possible way to get the results we want. The players that are available need to give everything they have, and the fans, as they usually do, and I expect them to do now again as well, will help us. That is where my focus is." But Slot did rule out recalling Harvey Elliott from his season-long loan with Aston Villa. Elliott has struggled for pitch time at Villa, who'll have to pay £30 million to sign him permanently if he makes a certain number of appearances. Slot said, "No, Harvey is an Aston Villa player, and he is supposed to be going there for a season, so questions about him, the best thing to ask is Aston Villa. They're doing really well, by the way."
Alexander Isak breaks silence after Liverpool leg break with injury admission. Liverpool striker Alexander Isak has endured a torrid few months since his move to Anfield. Liverpool striker Alexander Isak has broken his silence after suffering a disappointing injury setback in the Reds' win over Tottenham Hotspur. The Swedish international fractured his leg following a challenge from Spurs defender Mickey van de Ven and has had to have surgery on an ankle injury that included a fibula fracture. The 26-year-old came off the bench and scored for Liverpool at Tottenham on Saturday, but had to be taken off just a few moments after finding the back of the net. Isak was in clear discomfort as he hobbled off the pitch and is now set for a spell on the sidelines. Taking to Instagram, the striker said, "Gutted to be out for a while. Time to recover and support from the sideline. I will work hard to be back as soon as I possibly can. Thank you all Reds and everyone else for the kind messages. It does not go unnoticed. #YNWA." The Swedish international has endured a difficult period since moving to Anfield from Newcastle United, missing the Magpies pre-season with a minor thigh injury, and then didn't train with Eddie Howe's side in order to force through a move. Isak has scored just 2 goals and notched 1 assist in 10 Premier League appearances this season, scoring 1 more goal in the Carabao Cup win over Southampton, but has failed to find the back of the net in the Champions League. The British record signing has struggled with his fitness, and this is another huge setback, with former Reds defender Jamie Carragher highlighting his bad luck on Sky Sports Monday Night Football. "It's a huge blow because I think Liverpool were actually 1 attacker short anyway," Carragher said. "There's a lot been made about a lot of the challenges in the game from Tottenham players, and a lot of them weren't clever. I put myself in Van de Ven's position, and that's a challenge I'd probably make. He's trying to block it, it's just the follow-through. I don't know where else anyone thinks his foot's going to go. He has to make that challenge. You can't let the striker just get a shot away in that situation. It's just really bad luck for Isak. It's probably one of the first glimpses we've seen of his real quality in a Liverpool shirt."
Antoine Semenyo says no to Man United transfer as first preference on January move emerges. Bournemouth forward Antoine Semenyo looks set to be on the move during the January window with a host of teams, including both Manchester clubs, Liverpool and Chelsea. Antoine Semenyo has his heart set on a move to Manchester City in January. The Bournemouth forward is one of the most sought-after players in the Premier League after another impressive season on the South Coast. The 25-year-old signed a new deal with the Cherries in July, helping to fend off interest from a host of clubs during the summer window. However, part of that arrangement included a clause which will allow Semenyo to leave for £65 million at the start of 2026. A host of clubs have been in the mix to sign the Ghana international, including both Manchester United and City. However, The Athletic report that Semenyo's preference would be to play for Pep Guardiola in the blue half of the city. United had made a hard play to sign the standout cherry star, but there was always an acceptance a deal would be hard, and a desire to immediately compete for the game's top prizes is said to have played a deciding factor in his final choice. Liverpool are also understood to be admirers of the players, while Chelsea made tentative inquiries for a player who already has 8 Premier League goals this season. Guardiola had previously hinted that City could be set for a quieter January window after greenlighting a huge spending spree 12 months ago. That was in the midst of a crippling injury crisis, while City are in a much stronger position this time around. He said, "Listen, last season what happened in the transfer window was for just one reason. We have had no players. Old players and no players. Old players and no players. And you have to, for the next years, new vibes, new energy. That was the reason why. But I'm not a big fan for the January transfer window. Always you have to be open, you never know what happens, and it's possible that the club decides it's good for now and for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years, why not? But it's better to, at the end of the season, to see what happened this season, how it was. It's much better." Bournemouth have been resigned to the fact that they could lose their star player, who they signed from Bristol City for around £10 million in 2023. Speaking on Tuesday, manager Andoni Iraola said he was desperate to keep Semenyo, but couldn't control what would happen when the window opens on January 1. "Antoine Semenyo right now is with us. He's playing very well. He's playing very well," the Spaniard said. "I understand that there is a lot of noise around Antoine, but my concern is that it doesn't affect his performances, and we are seeing that it's not affecting his performances. He's very committed to the team, and I hope we can keep him there. There are situations that I cannot control, or we cannot control, but right now Antoine is our player, and he's going to continue playing for us. If you ask me, I don't want to lose him. Definitely I don't want to lose him, but like we always say, every time the market opens, you never know what's going to happen. I think it's no secret that he's a massive player for us."